what happened was I was working with a colleague of mine at the University of Liège in Belgium, who asked me to come on as a co-organizer for a conference that they were sponsoring under the European Research Network for Social Enterprise. And it just independently, they lit on the theme, which is the same title as my book. They said, why don't we call this conference If Not for Profit, for what? And I said, Jacques, that's nice. I knew he was aware of it. I don't mind you using the title, since the book was 30 years old. But I said, this would be a great opportunity to sort of commemorate that book, and not so much, for congratulatory purposes, but to ask the question today, are the ideas in there still relevant? Can they, help us think through how is the how is the research agenda and the policy agenda different now than it was then? For one thing, as co-organizer, Jacques asked me to be a plenary speaker, and I had an opportunity to talk about it at the conference in one of the major sessions. And to set off some discussion among top scholars really all over the world in terms of where we are in terms of some of these issues. That's been very gratifying. I mean, I know that a lot of these folks are my friends, and they're not going to say anything terrible. I just invited them to have this opportunity. But I mean, that's the special thing about this electronic medium, is that you can add to it. And in fact, there really wouldn't be as much value to it if it was simply a reissuing. The reissuing is there, and people can go back to the original text. But now in 2013, one can attach to it the thoughts of, what do we have, a dozen leading scholars that have said, this was important in getting my thinking going, and I look back on it, and it still gives us insight into this or that, and it suggests that maybe we should be looking into some other things. So, I really think it's been very gratifying, particularly, given the quality of people that are responding and the effort that they put into those commentaries to, provide their own thoughts and suggest really new opportunities and avenues for continued research. I think that there's certainly relevance to the point that if you write something, fairly contemporary, and it's still on the market, and very few of us academics make much money from any of these books. I mean, if I hit the 4 figures, I'm happy, and I've got a lot of books, and we're not talking about a lot of money, but we want to publish things. We're working with commercial publishers who also have make money. So I'm not sure immediately going into open access always makes sense, but at some point, whatever money is going to be made has been made, and publishers are very careful about what they keep in print and what they don't, and yet the work itself hopefully has more enduring value, and open access really helps. I don't know where the dividing line is, whether it should be a book that's been out for 10 years or 5 years, or certainly 30 is sort of on the extreme end of it, and I was so gratified that it was at all considered relevant at that point. But within a framework, I think it's very important.